Hello, dreamers. Welcome to Not So Average with Shon Wilson. I am your host, Shon Wilson. For those of you who are new to the podcast, welcome. For those of you who I already have history wealth would be nice too. Give me your money. Give me all your money. Anyway, for those of you I already have a history with, welcome back. You guys, I am so excited to be offering up a third season of this show. One of the things that's been so exciting for me about doing the show is that every single season has been a little bit different. If you've been with me from the beginning, you know that in the beginning I struggled to figure out exactly what I'd be presenting to you every week, how to present it. And part of it is because I thought I would just tell you the story of, being an actor in LA and what it was like for me to pursue my dreams and stuff, right? But no, then I found out that vlogging is a dead art form or something, and people don't care about your story if you're not famous. So I started to adjust what I was offering, and over time it became that I use the podcast to encourage you to pursue your dreams. And I feel like some people have gotten some benefit from it. If you're one of those people, please be sure to mention it to me in the comments of whatever platform you are using, because it helps me to know that this is reaching the people who need it. And then also, if you have ideas of things that you'd like to have covered on the show, of course, I'm always open to that as well. In season 2, the focus was helping those who did not yet know what their dream is, or who do not yet know what their dream is, helping them to discover their dream. So I used a lot of games and quizzes that I put together to help you uncover some things about yourself that could hopefully result in your finding something that you would like to be, do, or have for yourself, something that some might consider a dream. Here in this third season, I am going to be blending two of my loves. The first is my love of tarot. And I use that term to mean tarot and oracle readings. For those of you who are familiar with both, it's a lot of work to say two words and I'm lazy. So instead of doing that, I will probably always just say tarot instead of tarot and oracle readings. But oracle readings are more than likely going to be a part of that as well. And for those of you who are like, Shon, what in the Sam hell are you talking about? What the hell is an oracle reading? The simple version is it's like when you get encouragement from some cards. There you go. There you go. Encouragement from some cards. So yes, here in this third season, I'm going to be blending my two loves, my love of tarot and my love of joyously bringing positivity into your pursuit of your dreams. That's what we're going to do this time around. Now, a lot of the content that I'll be providing you with this season is going to be particularly beneficial for those people who still don't know what their dream is yet, or who are just joining the podcast for the first time and have not figured out what their dream is. And listen, if you're a person who doesn't know what your dream is, or you just don't have a dream, that's fine too. Like, you can come and hang out with us and have fun anyway, but don't feel the pressure. I hope there's nobody out there that's like, I don't have a dream, so there's something wrong with me. I need to get one. No, you don't. One of the reasons why we think about or even talk about dreams in our society, in the developed Western society, which I think probably all of Western society is, but anyway, is because it's been sold to us. This idea of a dream has been sold to us in storytelling, whether that story is a movie or Broadway shows or just, plays or books. Yes, books still exist. Books that we read, even songs. Everything that is presented to us as entertainment, for the most part, tends to have an element of wanting. The whole thing with capitalism, right? There was a dream that a certain set of people had about what North America could become. And so they took the land from some other people and they built that dream. I did not mean to sound as political as that probably sounded. And I don't have anything against America. I live here quite happily. But my point is, the term that was used at the time was manifest destiny. So these people, these very capable and privileged people, decided that they wanted to build something and they built it. And from there, we got the concept of capitalism, which is 100% about, getting something that you want for yourself, right? So that's where the idea of a dream comes from. If you don't happen to have a dream, it doesn't make you any less of a person. I'm pretty sure we don't come out of the womb with a concept of life purpose or path or destiny or dream. But if you do happen to have a dream, or you do want one just because you think it would be fun, that's fine too. And I feel that in this season 3 of my show, we're going to help you with that even more than we did before. Okay. So, I got off on a little tangent there. Sorry guys, this is not scripted. The show is never scripted. Nothing I do is scripted because I have to memorize scripts for the acting. And so sometimes I just want to be Shon. So this episode in particular is going to help those of you who don't know what your dream is to define a dream for yourself. Okay. For those of you who do know what your dream is, it is going to help you define or categorize the type of dream you have. In fact, that is the title of this week's episode. What kind of dream do you have? So to do that and to introduce tarot to the podcast for the first time, we're going to do what is known as a pick a card reading. So I'm going to try to explain what that is in a very, very succinct way for you. Fingers crossed. Y'all know I talk a lot. Basically, on YouTube, there are a ton of tarot readers who offer what's known as pick a card readings. And what it is they lay out different cards, and you as the viewer decide which card you are most drawn to. You may be drawn just based on your intuition. You may be drawn to it because you like the artwork. You may be drawn to it because you like the words that are written across that particular card. And then having selected your card, you then scroll down to the description box of that video, and you find where that tarot reader has placed the timestamp from the video that corresponds with the card you chose. And there you will find the reading that is meant for you for that day. I hope that was clear. I think it was. If it wasn't, oh well, that's the best I could do right now. So that's what we're going to do with this episode of Not So Average. I have laid out 6 cards. Full disclosure, if you are watching the video, it is going to be easier for you to pick a card than if you are if you are watching the episode, it is going to be easier for you to pick a card than if you are not watching, but are listening on one of the platforms that does not support video. If you are listening on one of those platforms, let me just remind you that you can see this. You can view the podcast each week on YouTube and on Spotify. Yes, you heard that correctly. Spotify supports video podcasts. So if you've got Stitcher, why not just go ahead and get the Spotify too, right? If you do Apple Podcasts, guess what? Spotify is just as easy to download. So I am fully disclosing that to you. So a lot of what I talk about from this moment forward in this episode in particular is going to be easier for you to make use of, clearer for you to understand if you are watching than if you are listening. However, if you are a listener and not a viewer, please feel free to stick around. You might get benefit from all of the readings. You never know. In fact, if you're a viewer, you can also listen to all of the readings, because I try to spit guidance all the time. I'm a little bit winded. Do I talk too fast? I probably talk too fast. Possibly I talk too much. Maybe I should breathe better. I don't know. But now that I've taken that little break for myself, let me just remind you what you're going to do is you are going to choose from the cards that are here on screen, the one that most calls to you. I do want to say while you're mulling that over, I do want to just let you know in terms of the YouTube tarot channels, I actually have one. I started it just a few months ago, and it's called Shon Vibes. It's my name, SHON.VIBES. And I do readings on that channel every single week. Some of them are pick a cards. Some of them are not. I also have a Facebook page, which is also named Shon Vibes. So if you are a person who would like to see my readings and don't really like YouTube or use YouTube or aren't familiar with YouTube, you can get the same exact videos via the Facebook page. That is the end of my shameless plug. Let's get back to you. So what I've laid out here on my tarot table are 6 cards, and each of the 6 cards represents the 3 types of dreams that we have previously talked about in other episodes. In case you are new to the podcast or you just need a refresher, let me remind you that the 3 types of dreams are the dream of being, the dream of doing, and the dream of having. The dream of being would be, as an example, a little girl living in Charleston, South Carolina, whose daddy is on the radio and everybody in the city knows him and loves him. And she thinks, man, it would be nice to be famous like my daddy. So she dreams of becoming famous. She dreams of being famous. She dreams of being a professional actor. She actually dreams of being a celebrity. Fingers crossed. The dream of doing, on the other hand, is the kind of dream where a person might want to backpack across Europe or swim the English Channel, if that's a thing that you're allowed to do. I don't know. I think I've used that example before. And I think I probably have gotten that from TV. But do the Brits let you swim their channel? I don't know. Backpacking across Europe, you definitely could do. Your dream of doing might be getting your master's degree or going to college. You know, if you might be from an environment where not everybody has the opportunity to go to college. So for you, the dream might be to go to college. All right. So the dream of doing is an action-oriented dream. It is having an experience. And then the dream of having is an ownership dream. There is something that you would like to own. You might be someone who's like, I want to own my own home one day, or I want to own a dream. I want to get my dream home, because for some people it's enough just to say they own a home and know that the payments that they're making each month result in a way, sort of, kind of wealth building. And then for some people, it's a very specific kind of home they would like to have, or maybe have that home in a very specific kind of neighborhood, right? Or it could be, the dream of having could be that you dream of having a Ferrari. I dream of having a Ferrari. If you have a Ferrari that you no longer need, please feel free to send me the keys and tell me where to pick up my car. All right. So, people who dream of owning a yacht, these tend to be, they're definitely attainment dreams. It's definitely about ownership, and it's definitely usually something that seems or feels like it's out of reach for you, or something that might take a very long time for you to be able to afford or attain. Most times it's about our earnings, but sometimes it's that someone gifts you the thing. Typically, though, it is about buying the object for yourself. So that's the dream of having. Except, sometimes, like say you're a kid, your dream may be of having a puppy. Okay. So that's not super expensive. And then let me just coming back to the dream of, being really quickly. I gave the example of being an actor. Yes, it might have something to do with career or calling or purpose or life path, something like that. Being the first woman president, something like that. However, the dream of being can also be a state of being, right? I want to be a person who has more balance in my life. That is a dream of being. I want to be in a really good, healthy relationship. And so the dream of being typically has to do with attaining skills, whether you attain those skills through a class or through mentorship or direct coaching, or from a book, a series of YouTube videos. However, it's changing who you actually are as a person, how you move through life, your energetic imprint in the universe. That is the dream of being. And in some cases, that is connected to a profession, like professional actor, like professional basketball player, like Olympian, you know? So sometimes the dream of being and the dream of doing can seem like the same thing, but I'm going to give you a quick example of how they are different. Okay. So for someone like me who dreamed of becoming a professional actor, I don't know so much that I dreamed of that, but I did dream of becoming a professional performer. There are certain things that I had to learn to do and then begin to do on a regular basis so that they became my existence in order to be living that dream of professional performer. However, if someone's dream is to act, they may not have any desire to be a professional at it. They may not even have a desire to be good at it. They may just want to act, right? So for someone like that, it could just be about taking a class. So then it becomes a dream of doing as opposed to a dream of being. As a professional actor, as someone who calls myself an actor, there are things that make me that are part of my being. But as someone who dreams of acting, they don't necessarily have to become a different kind of person. I mean, we see people who do terrible acting all the time, sometimes in a class, if you happen to take a class, or sometimes if it's, like say you go see a community theater show and like some people are like really great because they've got it, right? That's like, they are an actor. That's in them. And then the other person over here in the same play, maybe not so much. They don't have it. They're not that. Or they haven't trained for it yet, or whatever the thing is. So I hope that was clear without sounding too snotty. Kind of sounds like I was a little snotty, but I didn't mean it to be. So with all of that being said, you may already have a sense for yourself without us even referring to the tarot or oracle guidance. You may already have a sense of whether or not your dream is a dream of being or doing or having. Or you may be, if you're a person who didn't already have a dream when I started this podcast 6 years ago. Sorry, I should have said this episode 6 years ago. That would have been funny because that's what I meant, that I've been talking for a long time. But anyway, if you're somebody who you're hoping to discover a dream or to determine a dream, all of what I just shared may already be calling to you in a certain way, right? You might be going, oh, I think I would want to do something, or I think I would want to have something, or I think I would want to be something. You may already have deduced that for yourself. For those of you who would like to get a little more nudging, let me introduce you to our cards for the day. So there are 6 cards on my tarot table. The first is called the Hanged One. It has somebody who is in a relaxed position, hanging from a tree with a halo of light over their head, and they're wearing casual clothes and loafers. The second card is called the Knight of Wands, and that person is on a horse. The horse's front legs are reared up. They seem to be in movement, and the person is holding a pole, which is technically called a wand when we're dealing with tarot here. And yeah, like I said, they look like they're on the move. And then the third card that we have is the King of Pentacles card. And this is a person who is seated in a on a throne, first of all, and in a very lush environment covered in grapes and all kinds of leaves around them. There is a city or a castle. It's a castle behind them. The throne itself is adorned, their clothing is adorned, and they look very relaxed and confident. All right, so those are the first 3 cards. The second set of cards on this same table is, well, technically it's the same cards, but from a different tarot deck. All right, so the first 3 happen to have women featured. And the first 3 happen to have women featured, and the second 3 happen to have men featured because, you know, some people have a hard time identifying with a different gender and blah, 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 blah. So to help make that easier for anybody who is like, well, I can't pick that one because it's got a girl on it. I've also included the same exact depictions, with men. All right. So again, we have For card number 4, we have the Hanged One. For card number 5, we have the Knight of Wands. And for card number 6, we have the King of Pentacles. If you are a person who practices tarot and you are interested in either of these decks that I am using today, the top one is called the Pulp Girls Tarot, and the second row, the row at the bottom, is the Wiser Tarot, which you might recognize the Pamela Coleman Smith artwork, which has been recolored with watercolors instead of the muted shades of the original tarot. Yeah, that was a little bit of shop talk. Not that I'm like a pro and shit, but anyway, for those of you who like tarot cards and might be interested in getting either of these decks, a link to each of them is in the description box of this episode. So back to you guys. Once again, we have card number 1, the Hanged One. Card number 2, Knight of Wands. Card number 3, King of Pentacles. Card number 4, Hanged One, but this time a guy. Card number 5, Knight of Wands, but this time a guy. And card number 6, King of Pentacles, but this time a guy. Pick whichever of these 6 cards is calling to you, and then go down to the description box. Find the timestamp where your reading that corresponds with your choice is. If you are listening, let me rephrase. If you are watching on YouTube, you can click on that timestamp. It is hyperlinked and you will automatically be taken to that place in the video. It'll jump there for you. Okay. If you are on Spotify or any of the audio only platforms, you will have to scroll yourself there using the player. As opposed to being able to touch. I think now, if I'm wrong, that's great, but I'm pretty sure you can't just touch it and be there on the, traditional podcast platforms, not even Spotify, even though it does allow for video. Okay, you guys, I will see you in each of your readings. Bye. No, don't go anywhere. Okay. I don't know why I say bye, but just, go to the timestamps. The tampons? Was I about to say tampons? I hope not. Okay, yeah, I should stop talking now. Hey guys, it's Shon. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, so if you picked card number 1 or you picked card number 4, you are leaning towards the dream of being. Instinctively, energetically, intuitively, however this decision came about for you, something about the Hanged One called to you. And this card, for the purposes of this reading here today, represents the dream of being. Because that's exactly what the Hanged One is doing in both of these cards. They're just hanging, right? Literally just being. So, a lot of times in spiritual circles or wellness circles, we talk about the need to be and stop having to do all the time. And that's why I selected this particular card to represent those of you who might have the dream of being, which, as I mentioned earlier, has to do with your state, how you move through life, how you move in the universe. Okay. So what I have for you here, because I have already explained in the intro, I gave some examples of what a dream of being may be. But in case you came straight to the reading part and skipped the intro, the dream of being could be being something in terms of an occupation or a vocation, like being an actor, being a professional basketball player, being a doctor. It could also have to do with lifestyle, living a balanced life, being in a healthy relationship. Okay? Anything that has to do with a state change for you from where you were or where you are when you decide to become the new thing, the new version of yourself. And when you become that new thing, that new version of yourself, you have had a state change. And it is, typically speaking, because of having learned new coping skills, techniques, actual skills in terms of, things that you do. What's the word I'm looking for? Lessons, techniques. It can also come about from experiencing something that has a lasting impression on you and makes you become a different person. Sometimes trauma does this to us, or having a really horrible relationship, or moving somewhere, Okay, so I'm going to share something really quickly with you guys. When I was in elementary school, I used to get picked on a lot because I was, super skinny and I was dark skinned before it was in. Benetton hadn't come along to tell us yet that dark skin was beautiful. And I had full lips again before they were in, and full hair, which used to be called nappy. And I was smart. I was in the smart kid classes and oftentimes was taken from my class to go to special programs. And the neighborhood kids didn't necessarily love that. And there was one particular girl in our neighborhood named Nikki Smalls, who used to constantly pit several of us against each other. She was always she was a triangulator. So she was always at the top, and she would get other people to not talk to someone else. Like, oh, we're not talking to Gina today, or we're not talking to Leah today, and we're not talking to Chantel today. And if you don't know, my name is Chantal, and I was often called Chantel because I was from the South and people couldn't make their mouths say it right. And because of all the things that I had mentioned to you before, I got it a lot. I got it more than the other girls did, right? But then when I was about to start 7th grade, my family had an occurrence that forced us to move. And when we moved, I decided that was never going to happen to me again. And so I started functioning in life differently. I hadn't touched a self-help book. I hadn't even gone to counseling or anything. I let my imagination do the work. I thought, what would it be like if I fill in the blank to how I wanted to be? And I started acting like that thing. So that is also possible for you. I bring up that example to say the point is that there is a shifting in how you move through your life that happens when you have a dream of being. And in this particular example that I just gave, I dreamed, well, actually, technically, it was like a dream of not being. I dreamed of not being picked on. I dreamed of not being bullied. I dreamed of being popular. I dreamed of being loved. And, it took a while, but I got there because as you can imagine, I overcorrected. I became the bully, but we won't talk about that right now. So what I want to give you is, I want to give you some guidance for those of you who chose the dream of being. I've selected for you 3 oracle cards. They have been pre-selected. I did not look at them and choose. I did the kind of shuffle that I do whenever I do a tarot or oracle card reading for someone, but I did do it, instead of doing it right here in front of you and making you watch me do it, I did this process before starting the video. And, each of these cards has on it a goddess or ancestor from African traditions. The name of this deck is the African Goddess Rising Oracle. And I selected 3. Ooh, and I'm just noticing something about them that I didn't see before. But we'll talk about that in a second, unless I forget, which is highly possible. Okay, so the cards that came out for you, and I believe the order that I pulled them, I believe they came out in this order, is this one. So we have Yasigi, which is Live Out Loud. And we have this one, which is Sache. This was a real life person who lived. Her given name, not her given name, sorry, the name that was given to her by her captors is Sarah Barton. But her name given to her by her family was Sache. She was kidnapped from Africa. And then we have Ma'at, who is an Egyptian goddess. Yasigi, where is she from? She is also a deity. And I'm just going to look this up really quickly, you guys, because I don't remember off the top of my head the origins of Yasigi. Where are you, Yasigi, darling? Mali. Dogon? I don't know how to say this. The region is Dogon. And then also Mali, another region where she is, her legend originates. So I'm going to speak first on each of these keywords that is in each of these cards. And I'm going to encourage you to use what you find here in your week to come. Find ways to, in your being, in your body, in your actions, find ways to do each of these things. The first is live out loud. This one is probably one of the easiest for me to explain to you because you probably hear this from a lot of content creators or famous entrepreneurs or whatever. But basically, it is allowing that which is really you to exist. I'm going to say that again. Allowing that which is really you to exist. You have a thought? Don't be afraid of sharing that thought. You want to say something? Girl, go ahead and say it. I say girl because that's the majority of my viewers. But if you're a dude, you can talk too. We don't mind. If there is something that you have an interest in or want to explore or want to taste or want to try cooking or whatever the thing is, look at this card, y'all. There's so much color here because this is basically saying to you, live a colorful life. Live a colorful life. Live out loud. Bring the whole you to the party. Bring all of you to the table. Do not play small, is what this is saying. Dance in your own energy. And that will invite the rest of us to come and dance with you. Okay? So that's Yasigi's message to you. Live out loud. And an affirmation to go along with that is, I am free to express myself fully. That's kind of what I said, ain't it? I am free to express myself fully. The second message that I have for those of you who chose the dream of being is from Sache, and her keyword to you is grounding. And I feel like these two are very connected because grounding is having a sense of security, a sense of rootedness, a sense of being and being safe in your being, right? And it is only through being safe in our being that we can live out loud. So sometimes we need grounding practices. This is one of the many things that should be taught in schools that is not. Along with personal finance, relationship skills. I could go on forever. Appreciation for the arts. Okay, so getting back to the grounding, some methods of grounding that many of you may already be doing and not realize that it's grounding is exercise. One of the most grounding exercises or types of exercise is yoga. There is also Tai Chi. If you are a person who would love to exercise, but you don't have the ability to take classes at this time, either because of time or money, I say it all the time and I'll say it again, videos galore on YouTube. Go to YouTube, go to YouTube, go to YouTube. I personally actually have a workout playlist, which I am going to link in the description box of this episode so that you guys can have access to my personal, oh wait, I don't have one anymore. I actually have like 10 because I have different playlists for different types of workouts. It used to be that I had them all on one playlist. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to link my yoga playlist, and I'm going to link my Tai Chi playlist. And just because I love it so much, I'm going to link the ballet playlist. Okay. So grounding, being in touch with your body, being situated physically in yourself. So with the live out loud, that's more being situated psychologically and emotionally in yourself. But the grounding is being situated physically in yourself. Stomping your feet on the ground literally is a grounding exercise. So that's one thing you can do. Okay. This is one of the reasons why when people have tantrums, they stomp their feet. The energy is getting to be too much for them. And so instinctively, without even knowing what they're doing, they kind of rebalance themselves by shooting energy out the bottom of their feet into the ground. Another grounding exercise for you would be going to a park or a greenway, some kind of trail, a lake, the ocean. Oh God, if you have access to the ocean, I am so jealous of you. Yes, I live in Los Angeles, but the ocean is literally an hour away from me. It sucks big time. But yes, spending time in nature is what I'm getting at. If for whatever reason you cannot spend time in nature, I'm stealing this from another tarot reader named Chloe Taylor, who I often partake of her videos on YouTube. She made mention in one of her videos of listening to nature sounds through media, like whether it's a video that you're playing that's got the nature sounds or it's just audio, whatever. I probably didn't need to explain that. The point is just listening to nature sounds can help give psychosomatically give your brain a lot of the same benefits as you would get from going out in nature. For some of you, you don't like doing it in the cold. I hate being outside in the cold. I love spending time in the parks, but when it's winter, I don't do it because I don't like the cold. So if you're one of those people listening to nature sounds, I found an awesome video the other day. That's the ocean with nature sounds. So it's got the sounds of the forest overlaid on the sounds of the ocean. And man, talk about a great night's sleep. So YouTube is where you would find things like that. Okay. So your affirmation from Soche is, I am firmly planted and deeply rooted. A couple of other grounding things that you might really enjoy: drinking healthy drinks and eating. And I'm not going to say eating healthy because, I'm not the food police. Sometimes people say I look like Michelle Obama, but I'm not Michelle Obama. And I also don't technically think she was the food police. But anyway, eating and drinking. Okay. Eating and drinking. These things help to ground you. Taking a nap, meditating, tapping, EFT tapping. I can't get into a huge explanation of what that is right now, but just, you can hear me like tapping my body. It moves energy throughout the body. If you want to know more about EFT tapping, go to YouTube. All right, moving on. Mott. Her message for you is about giving and receiving. So sometimes we are unable to be or exist in the universe the way we would like to because we are giving so much of our energy away to others. We are giving more than we are receiving. And so there is an imbalance. So in those cases, it could be that you are giving too much to your job, but not enough to your recreational life, giving too much to your spiritual life, but not enough to your sexual life, giving too much to your children, but not enough to yourself, giving too much to your parents, but not enough to yourself, giving too much to your siblings, but not enough to yourself. So giving and receiving is necessary for balance. And not that those of you who chose the Hanged One necessarily are seeking balance, but I can tell you having a sense of what is balanced for you, what is balanced to you, can help you feel better grounded and therefore more secure in moving forward with whatever your dream is. Feeling more secure, feeling like you have the right to live out loud, the right to become the thing you wish to become, to have the dream. To be the dream. Okay. You have to feel as though you can receive. And if you have the habit of going through life feeling like you can't receive, it is going to be near to impossible for you to accomplish any of the 3 types of dreams, because you have to be able to allow them to come into your life. So Ma'at, I'm learning something new. I said that she was Egyptian because, that depiction definitely makes her look like it. And I know I've heard her referenced in things before as being of Egypt or being one of the Egyptian gods, but maybe that's one of those situations where people are just lumping all Black gods and goddesses together, or all African descended gods and goddesses, not descended, African originated gods and goddesses together. But it says here in my little book that she is from a place I don't know the name of. I don't know how to say that. I'll show it to you guys in a second. And then South Africa. Oh, wait, no, that's Sache. All right, I'm not on the right page. All right, that makes a lot more sense because I was like, wait, no, that doesn't feel right. I would have noticed it by now. That was Sache. She was from that place that I don't know how to say here. Let me just show it to you really quickly if you're watching. Can you see that? That K word there in South Africa. But Ma'at is flipping over to her page now. Ma'at. Yeah, just like I said in the beginning, Egypt. So forget all the stuff I said a second ago. She is definitely Egyptian. Okay, so her affirmation to you is, I give easily and freely. I receive freely and easily. I give easily and freely. I receive freely and easily. Okay. All right, my peeps. If you found value in this, which I hope you did, remember to subscribe if you're on YouTube, follow if you are on any of the other platforms. Definitely like it so that it gets out there to other people. Give a review to the podcast if you're a person who's been with me, particularly if you've been with me from the beginning. But even if you're new, I would love to have you do a review, because it does help others who come across the podcast know what they can expect of it and, whether or not they might like it. I think that's everything I want to say to you guys. I don't want to... God, this is going to be a long video. This one is already like 20 minutes long. Jeez. All right, you guys, I'm going to go now. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Okie dokie. Hello. If you chose this particular set of cards, the Knight of Wands, whether it's the female version or the male version, you are attracted to the idea of having a dream of doing. You might actually already have that dream. You might already actually know that your dream is one of doing, one of action, one of experiencing. So what I did prior to starting the recording is I did pre-shuffle the cards and select. I did not look at the cards that were selected for your group, for those of you who chose these cards. So that would be, for those of you who are listening, it's card number 2 and card number 5. Those are the Knight of Wands cards that were laid out at the top of this episode. So yeah, I shuffled the cards thoroughly, and then I selected 3 intuitively to use to give you guys your guidance for this dream of doing that you have or might discover. Now, just a quick recap of what the dream of doing is. It is an activity dream. It is an action dream. It is a experiencing something dream. So for some people, it might be climbing Mount Everest. For other people, it might be running for Congress. Or it could be one dream of doing, having your dream wedding, right? And that, now that I think about it, that one is kind of like 3 types of dreams in one, because you have the being the bride or groom, you have the having of the dream wedding, and then you have, the activity of, experiencing the wedding day and everything that leads up to it. Oh God, that sounds so scary to me. So, and I have directed and produced full live shows, and yet and still trying to put together a wedding sounds terrifying. But I digress. So you guys are oriented towards, if even only on a subconscious level, action, movement, experience. You might be kinesthetic learners. You might be people who learn through doing. Like I am an experiential learner. You might be one of those kinds of people. Physically feeling is a big part of who you are, sensations. And maybe even, you might even enjoy like sharing the experience with others through storytelling, through getting a lot of attention at a social event because you're talking about that time that you climbed Mount Everest or lost the election for city manager in your town. Whatever the thing is. Boy, that was kind of rude of me, right? Now that I think about it, I'm supposed to be encouraging you to pursue your dreams, and then I give the example of losing. But it's okay, because for the purposes of what we're talking about today, the dream is running for office, not necessarily operating in that function. That would be, the dream of being. But again, I digress. I just ate, so I have a spike of energy. So if I'm kind of like more so than usual, that is why. Anyway, I chose your cards, your oracle cards of guidance and or encouragement or affirmation. We'll see once we turn them over. But I chose your cards from the Moonology Oracle by Yasmin Bolin. And I chose these to give you guys your guidance because it's a good fit, I feel. Typically speaking, this deck it gives action-oriented encouragement, typically speaking. So let's find out what your cards are. The first card that you got was New Moon in Taurus, and it's got the message that prosperity lies ahead. The second card that you got says, be bold and make the first move. And that's Cardinal Moon. Interesting. Let me push this up a little bit more so we have a little bit more space. There we go. Come on, man. You can't get more action oriented than that. Cardinal signs, for those of you who don't know, are the signs that are naturally oriented towards action. So that's like, oh gosh, I'm not an astrologist. Let me see if I can remember them off the top of my head. It's Libra, Aries, clearly. Oh no, wait, hold on. Definitely Libra and Aries. I think also Taurus, And there would be one more. Cancer. I think Cancer is the fourth one. I'll look that up in just a second. I want to stay focused right now on revealing your cards to you, and then I'll take a quick look so I can give you the right information. But despite my saying all that, it's not that you have to have one of those signs as your sun sign or any of your placements. Well, any of your major placements for this to apply to you. It's just the energy of what a cardinal moon is. So the idea of a cardinal moon is when the moon is in that position, when the moon is in Aries, when the moon is in Libra, that sort of thing, as opposed to the new moon in Taurus, So the cardinal moon is when the moon is in one of the cardinal signs, one of the cardinal astrological signs. And then we have faith in your dreams. Waxing crescent moon. So what I really like about the order in which your cards came out is that it kind of gives you 3 different phases of dream pursuit to get to focus on, right? So let's start with the new moon in Taurus and the guidance that prosperity lies ahead. Just so you guys know, one of my neighbors just started taking a shower, and we have really old pipes here in Los Angeles. So you might have just heard their water start running really, really loudly. It will end eventually. I've heard some of my other episodes or watched some of my other episodes and heard that in the background. So now it's happening again. So yay! But getting back to the new moon in Taurus and the idea that prosperity lies ahead and what that means for those of you who are geared towards the dream of doing. Sometimes the thing that keeps us from doing something that we dream of is the idea that we can't afford it. And a lot of times this is an actual truth that in this moment, at this time, we don't have the extra or expendable income to put towards whatever it is we dream of. But what this card is reminding you is that there is always more coming. The amount of the more may vary depending on what the circumstances of your life or your work situation are. But the idea that your future holds scarcity or lack is not necessarily true. It can be true based on choices that we make, but it is not just a given. It is not just the way of the world. Sometimes we aren't great at accepting those opportunities that allow us to have more, whether it's through earning or through receiving a gift from someone else. But the universe itself, let's take money out of the equation too. The universe itself is always providing you with. It is always creating. It is always expanding. There is always new and there is always more. So while the opportunity to do something may not be present for you at this moment, it might come along in the future. For those of you who have been with me or who have seen and or listened to season 1, I believe it was episode 7, where I talk about the 6 reasons why you should pursue your dream regardless of your age. And in that episode, I gave the example of how when American Idol first started, it was not open to me because I was already too old for the age that they had as their cutoff. I was already older than the age that they had as their cutoff. But then later on, several years later, they raised the age that you could be. And had I known about it, I didn't, because I was, focused otherwhere at the time. Otherwise, I was focused on something else at the time. But had I known, then that provision was now there. It wasn't available to me in the beginning, but it became available to me. That is an example of prosperity lying ahead that's got nothing to do with money. Okay. So, I've spent a long time on this one card, but I feel like this is a very important one, particularly because, for 2 reasons, but one of the reasons is because, this idea of prosperity tends to be immediately for a lot of us the thing that shuts us off or shuts us down from moving forward with something that we would like to do or seeking out something we would like to do. A lot of times we just assume that we can't afford it. I want to remind you, if there is something that you would like to try to do, or an experience you would like to have, and it might seem right off the top of, just without having done any research, that it's something you can't afford, it costs more. See if that thing has any sort of financial aid attached to it. Because sometimes we just don't even think that that's a possibility. I did a dance camp in 2004. It was an adult dance camp at that. And so, of course, they didn't have scholarships available for us adults the same way the ballet programs, especially the serious ballet programs, have scholarships available for super talented people that are 18 or younger than 18, I think even. But something told me to look up arts grants. And I actually found one that was not attached to a specific institution or university. It was called the Astral Career Grant. And I was able to use the money that I won. I was one of the people selected for that grant that year in time to do dance camp. And I was able to use that money to pay part of my tuition for that dance camp. And it was 2004. Y'all, I was 29 years old. I was a full grown adult. So don't let the idea of not having money be the thing that keeps you from looking into or moving forward on your dream of doing. Okay? Don't let money be the thing that keeps you from doing it. The other part of what I love about this card is that it is a new moon card, new moon in Taurus specifically, but new moon, again, referencing one of the other episodes, season 1, episode, I want to say 5, excuse me, episode 5, I talked about action steps you can take during the new moon to help facilitate your dream, move forward with your dream, get going on your dream. And the reason why that was the focus is because the new moon, whether it's in Taurus or in some other sign, the new moon happens 12 times a year, people. And every time it happens, it is a chance for a new beginning. So it could be the new beginning of starting something that you, were thinking about doing. For instance, say you were thinking about opening an Etsy shop. I have an Etsy shop. Say you were thinking about opening an Etsy shop. Launching it on the new moon can help it be fortuitous for you because of the energies associated with the new moon. It's when listen, I don't know a shit ton about this stuff. I only know some, but from what I do know about it, the energy starting to gather, because of the moon being in the start of its cycle, it's like, okay, let me say it better. You know how farmers know the right time to plant versus the right time to sow? And it's not just about the fact, like forget the right time to reap is what I meant to say. Forget the reaping part. Let me try it again. Farmers know the right time to plant based on when it's going to be best for that specific crop. So the new moon happens to come with energies that make it a great time for you to start something new. It also comes with the energies that make it a great time for you to plant seeds or take initial actions towards something that you hope to see come to fruition or fully bloom in the future. You know, those things that take time. So, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I love that you guys got a card that's got new moon. Because again, there are many new moon cards in this deck. And I feel like the Taurus part of it is, I think Taurus is a cardinal sign. I'm going to look that up really, really quickly while we're talking about it. Where is my, you know what? I'll just do it here on my PC. Excuse the click, click, click that you're about to hear. Do a quick search for the cardinal signs. And no, it's not Taurus at all. I told y'all I don't know that much about astrology. Okay, so the cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. So I was close. I got 3 out of the 4 right. Capricorn is the 4th one. But let me tell you some characteristics about Taurus really quickly while we are here. Taurus, what do I want to put in here? Taurus characteristics. That's better. Character traits sounds like I'm writing a book or acting. All right. So it says here, that Taurus can be stubborn and sensual. Hard-headed, down to earth, tenacious, reliable, loyal. Don't all of those things sound like characteristics that might be helpful for you to mirror or model in the pursuit of your dream of doing? Particularly, I would say tenacious. Do not give up. Loyal. Be loyal to your dream. And then the sensual gets back to what I was saying earlier about like the feeling. I'm guessing that a lot of you guys who have the dream of doing, you experience life through your body. I mean, technically we all do, but you really do. You're kinesthetic people. Physiology is a big thing for you, I would guess. It's just a guess. Yeah. All right. Your second card that you got says, be bold and make the first move. Oh, no, wait. We were already talking about that. Yeah, wait, did I get lost? Okay, we had started talking about the cardinal signs and then I came back over here to the prosperity. I don't know, this might be a jumbled mess. And if so, please forgive me. But let me just say this. Be bold and make the first move. Definitely take action. Boom, done. Done. Take action on your dream of doing. Yes, we had started to touch upon this. And then I came back to this thing about the new moon. So I did kind of get off the rails a little bit. But the point is, and this is the truth with all card readings that are done well, which I don't know if we could say I'm doing this one particularly well, but it's that the cards all together tell a story. They work together. They go together. And so these two lending so well to each other, to the extent that I was talking about the one came over here and forgot we already covered the one. Part of that is just me being old and silly, but part of it is definitely the fact that these two ideas go together. You start something new. All right. That's the new moon part. But then also cardinal means the cardinal signs are the signs to take action. All right. So take action, be bold, take the first move. Okay. Make the first move, make the first move. And then the third card that you guys got says, have faith in your dreams. And it is a waxing crescent moon. And see, the other thing that's cool about that, or the thing that is cool about that, is the waxing moon is when the moon is growing. That's when the energies around something are escalating. So you plant the seeds during the new moon, and then over time you continue to take, more actions that are necessary to help that dream come to fruition, to help the thing that you are trying to accomplish come to fruition. This is the time, the time of the waxing moon is the time to not just initiate, but to continue to take necessary steps and to let the momentum grow. Do not step in your own way. Do not stop the action, the activity, the energy. Do not put the brakes on. This is where you build up your belief in what it is you're doing. And that's one of the reasons why the card itself says, have faith in your dreams. So if I were to give you an actual step to take during the, let's say, mid-cycle of trying to achieve your dream, the first part being taking the initial steps, for you, that might be just research as opposed to even making the phone call, finding out as much as you can about it, right? So let's say that your first step is the research, and then your second step is, making application or signing up for the thing that you want to do. And then the third step, the next piece of it, is building your confidence and belief in yourself to not only know that you can have it, but that you should have it, that you are worthy of it. And let that grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And let's say your thing is something like climbing Mount Everest. Y'all, that is the time for you to train and train and train and train and train so that when you do start to do it, you're ready. You don't want to just up and go and try to climb a mountain. You're going to die. So, these are the guidances that I have for those of you who are attracted to the idea of, or have already known that you have a dream of doing. Don't doubt. Believe. Take steps. Do research. And I feel like there's one other thing I wanted to add to that. What was it? Oh, yes. And don't let the idea of not being able to afford something preclude you from experiencing this dream of doing. It is an abundant universe, and there are a ton of people who have a ton of money. So if you don't happen to have the money, ask someone for it. Ask an organization. Ask your government. Ask a loved one. Ask your boyfriend, Justin, can I have some money? That last part was technically me making a joke, but my point is this. There is a way. Don't let the lack of funds be the thing that stops you. Don't let fear of making the first move be the thing that stops you. You'll be surprised after you take that first move how much easier it is to take the second and the third and the fourth steps. And the whole time you're doing all of that, have faith in your dreams and your right to those dreams. Okay. You action people, you dream of doingzers. I don't know how to say that. Casper's over here yelling at me. He obviously wants something. For those of you who don't know, it's my cat. I'm going to wrap this one up for you guys, and I'm going to move on to our last group. Those who chose the dream. I'm coming, Casper. Can you wait a second? Those who chose the dream of having. And I'll see the rest of you guys in 2 weeks. Hello, group 3. So, if you chose the King of Pentacles cards, whether the one with the female on it or the one with the male on it, so that would be cards 3 and 6 respectively, you are inclined to have a dream of having. You dream of possessing shit. In fact, you might even outright dream of being a millionaire. You might outright dream of just being rich. You might dream of hanging out with rich folks and being one of them. Not being like that weird person from a different class that's just hanging out with them and hoping that they give them gifts. You know, like there's always one of those kinds of people on some of these reality shows, or The Great Gatsby. If you have read The Great Gatsby, you'll remember that our narrator, Nick, was educated, but from a working class background. And so he was not used to the society in which he found himself when he met Gatsby. And he found everything that they did fascinating. And it opened up a whole new world for him. But that's not what you want. You want to own the thing. To own the business, to own the car, the luxury car, to own the multi-million dollar home. Cause like here in LA, $1 million home is just like 2 bedrooms. Starter homes start at $500,000. So, you want to live in that castle. That's who you are. You want to be the one that's treating others. I heard a different tarot reader on YouTube say, they were talking about the King of Pentacles, and they described the King of Pentacles as that person who knows that the universe will always provide for them. So he's like, yo, what you want, bitch? I'll get it for you. Because the King of Pentacles knows it costs him nothing to give because more will come. And whether or not you have such an enlightened view of prosperity and the ability to receive as that, a part of you wants to, and you definitely want to have things. Now, some of y'all might want to have and hoard, or have and keep to yourself. You might be stingy, and I'm not here to judge that, because you might have really good reasons for why you're a stingy person. You may have grown up in an environment where you didn't get to have things. If you got something nice, it was taken from you, or you were forced to share it with your siblings. Nothing was ever yours. You might be that person who had parents that never gave you anything, or they gave you very little, or they gave you things, but then made you feel all kinds of guilt and shame for receiving. And so because of that, you don't have a spirit of generosity, and that's the reality of you. And I don't judge you for that at all. At all. You might have had super stingy parents, and so you learned stinginess from that. You might have grown up in poverty, and so you haven't gotten to have things. There is a myth out there that going through struggle makes people want to help others. That's bullshit. It makes some people want to help others, and it makes other people not want to help anybody. And it's the same with giving. Not having makes some people want to share whatever they have. And it makes others afraid to share. Indignant at the idea of sharing, even. So you guys, I pulled your oracle cards from a fun little deck I have called Cosmic Cat Wisdom Cards. And as you can imagine, these cards feature cats on them, but they also come with keywords and some encouragement for you, or at least I'm going to glean from these cards some encouragement to give you, to help you begin to realize your dream of having, whether it's having the actual money or having fancy cars, fancy clothes, a big house, a certain kind of television, a certain kind of jewelry, a Hermes bag, whatever the thing is that you dream of having. Your first, so I forgot to tell you, and I did tell the other groups this as well. I pre-shuffled your cards. I shuffled them thoroughly before selecting intuitively which cards to share with you today. However, I have not looked at those cards in advance. So I shuffled and I pulled them face down. So the message is going to be revealed to me at the same time as it's being revealed to you. And I will share with you what comes to me intuitively as guidance for you as we do this. So your first card that you got is prosperity. Look at prosperity. Oh gosh. Okay. Look at that. Y'all, you got the prosperity card. And sorry, that knocked the wind out of me for a second. My heart is just thumping really, really hard. So if you ever needed confirmation or affirmation that you can have the thing you dream of having, this is it. This is it. It says, and it doesn't just say prosperity, it says have it all. Look at that. I don't really think there's much more that I need to say about that one. Like some of these cards, I got really lengthy in my explanations of, but I don't think this is one of them. I think this one is just saying, let yourself begin to believe that you can have and you should have and you will have. And I'm going to stop there. Your second card is pounce. And it says decide to act. So as with any dream, we can't have it until we take a step ourselves, until we take some action towards the having of it. But before we take that step, before we take an action, we have to decide to do it. And that sounds elementary, right? It's like, well, gosh, Shon, of course you got to decide. No, let me explain something to you. Just saying you're going to do something is not the same as deciding to do it. Okay? For instance, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whose birthday we celebrated 4 days ago at the time of this recording. 3 days ago? Whatever you subtract Thursday from Monday and get, that's how many days ago. Dr. King decided to fight for civil rights in a non-violent manner. He decided that no matter what came his way, what happened to him, what was done to him, he would not use violence as part of his method for helping to bring about civil rights in America. And the reason why I'm using this particular example and stressing the word decided is because have you ever been hit? Have you ever been called out of your name? If you happen to be African American, have you ever been called the N-word? Have you ever been mistreated by people you were trying to help? Because see, it's very easy to assume that all of his opposition only came from whites, but this is not true. He also had opposition from not just other Black people, but other civil rights leaders. Have you ever had that happen to you where people were accusing you of things that you didn't do, or even shedding light on horrible things you did do, or causing others to doubt you, to turn on you, taking things away from you, imprisoning you, or jailing? He was more jailed than he was imprisoned. Assaulting his family. This is what this man endured, and he continued to operate in a non-violent manner to bring about the world that allows me and Justin to live together. He wasn't thinking of himself only when he did this. He was thinking of others. So he decided, and he was firm in that decision. That's what deciding is. Saying you're going to do something is one thing. Thinking you want to do something is one thing. Even taking a first step towards something, whatever. But deciding is firmness. It's locking it into you. Okay? So that's what this card represents for you. Decide to act, it says, pounce. So I feel like with it having pounce as well, it's not just about becoming firm and stoic in this decision to have the thing that you want for yourself. But it's saying decide to act, take the first step towards it, decide to take that first step towards it, pounce, take the damn step. take the step. And as I've said in other, in at least one other group, and I've said it in other episodes of this podcast and possibly some of the tarot videos as well, I don't know. The first step can oftentimes just be the researching of a thing. The researching of a thing helps to bring it into reality for us, because it is very easy for us to just do the whole, oh, well, you know, it might be nice if, you know, I could possibly. Yeah, okay. But that's just yammer. That's just, yes, Casper, I know, honey. Mommy's talking a lot. Sorry, guys. My cat got very vocal and very needy. And so I've picked him up here and brought him over here too. So, yeah, just having it as an idea, a thought, a wish. What's the word for it? My sister knows. One of my sisters and I talk about this with someone that we mutually know all the time, and I can't think of what the word is. The word itself is not fantasy, but it's kind of like just fantasizing, you know? But when you research it, you're really taking it seriously. You're really, really gonna go forward, or at least you're seriously considering going forward. And that's what this card is reminding you to do, okay? And then their third card that you guys got is discernment. Take a closer look. Well, how about that? I feel like that fits very nicely with, hey, Casper, that hurts. Cut it out. Sorry, guys. I feel like that fits very closely with what we were just talking about in terms of researching. Take a closer look. So one of the things that keeps us from going after what we want or getting what we want is a myth that some of us have, particularly if you're from a dysfunctional background, a dysfunctional environment, a myth that other people just know things. And because we don't just know, then it's not for us. That's bullshit. Okay? That's bullshit. Nobody is born knowing anything. Like literally nothing. So research. Look it up. Find out. Figure it out. Work it out. Ask for help. Interview people informally. You don't have to like start a podcast and interview people, but you can. You know, informally interview people and find out how they did the thing you want to do or how they got the thing you want to have. Google it. Google that shit. You know, like I like to say, go to YouTube. Someone who has what you want, someone who already owns the thing you want to own, has, especially if they're a known personality, they've talked about it somewhere. You can find that online. So take a closer look. Start with researching the thing you want to have and how to go about getting it. What it costs to get it. What are some steps you can take towards getting the money needed to get it? Okay. Also, look at the various options for getting that thing. Yes, you might be able to buy it over here, but you might also be able to buy it over there. Does it cost less in this country than it does in that country? Even with the shipping and the handling, does it turn out to be a better deal to get it from this country versus that country? You know, just whatever the thing is. And then also, just because you dream of something that might be considered a luxury doesn't always mean you have to pay luxury prices for it. So let yourself comparison shop. I think I already said comparison shop in the last example, but what I mean is comparison shop for price. Okay? Like you found I'm just making this up because I don't know shit about TVs. I want to say 72 inch. That's a real thing, right? So you found the brand of 72 inch TV that you want. And it's at Best Buy. And so Best Buy is in the name, which means it must be the best price, right? And Shon says I should go ahead and buy it because it's my dream. Don't put that on me. But anyway. So, but just because it's Best Buy, and they're known for having great prices, and you found the exact 72 inch TV that you want, and you've given yourself the go ahead to pounce, Walmart might still have that TV at a lower price. Or Facebook Marketplace, someone might be reselling it. Like they haven't used it yet, but they bought it to sell. You know? So take a closer look. Don't assume that the first opportunity or option you have for getting whatever it is you dream of having is the only option. Someone comes up to you and they, like say your dream is to, I use this in the intro, to own a boat, own a yacht. And you just happen to have a friend who has a yacht. You don't have many friends who have a yacht, but you have this one particular friend that has a yacht. And that friend is like, yo, I want to sell my yacht. And they quote you a price. Take a closer look. Just because it's your friend and your friend has the yacht and you've been wanting a yacht doesn't necessarily mean that this is the answer to your prayers. Oh, that note was not that good. In my head, it sounded different, but I haven't warmed up for singing, so it was pretty bad just now. But you guys get what I was trying to do, right? Look at it carefully. The yacht or whatever it is you're going to get from whatever source it is that seems to have miraculously brought it to you. Look at it carefully and make sure it, 1, is in good condition. 2, is worth what is being asked for it in terms of price. And 3, is actually the thing that you dreamed of having. Maybe the yacht you wanted was different than this particular yacht. Maybe this one's really just a dinghy, but you go, well, it's still a boat. I get to have a boat. Come on, man. Don't do that to your dream. Don't shit on your own dream. But that extreme example aside, 100%, take a closer look at whatever the thing is you are considering buying. Know that you can have what you want. Decide that you will get what you want. And then use discretion and your damn brain as you go about getting the thing you want. And on that note, guys, I am ending the first episode of Not So Average with Shon Wilson for season 3. I promise you, they will not all be as long as this. However, anytime it is a pick a card, which I don't know how many pick a cards I will be doing, but anytime it's a pick a card, it probably will be this long because there's teachings for each of you guys in each of your groups. And of course, I got to do an intro. But now that we all know what a pick a card is, the next intro will probably be a shit ton shorter than this one was. In the meantime, thank you for being here, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye! Aren't my theme songs fun? I found them at Purple Planet Music. You can find music for your projects there too. Just go to purple-planet.com.